My name is Auri Willyaldo. I am in here and my friend will share with you about adverb clause. What the adverb clause? Let us see. Adverb clause was predicates or adverbs. Adverb joining to clause. An adverb clause as preposition begin a sentence. Adverb clause consists of a connecting word called an adverb clause marker or subordinate conjunction, and at least a subject and a verb. Connected of the adverb clause is classified as being contrast, time, condition, and a cause. So there are 4 conjunctions of the adverb clause. Now, let me explain to you about adverb of time. Adverb of time is an adverb used to express of the time when an activity or event occurs in a pronoun sentence. There's a lot conjunction of the time, like today, now, last week, next year, next month, ago, in the morning, in the night, in the evening, in the afternoon, ever, soon, recently, and others. The location of the adverb clauses of the time is different. The first, before the verb. Example, she recently discovered the antivirus. Recently is a connector of adverb of time, and discover is a verb. The second, between auxiliary verb. Example, this item has already been sold out. Has and been is an auxiliary verb, and already is a connector of adverb of time. And the third, begin and end sentence. Example, today we see social distancing everywhere. Today is a connector of adverb of time. Meanwhile, there are 2 types of the adverb of time. The first, adverb of definite time. Adverb of definite time indicates the fixed time, like tonight, today, every day, and last night. Example, I have a schedule tonight. Tonight is a connector. And 2, he takes me home every day. Every day is a connector. And the last example, they did not study last night. Last night is a connector. The second, adverb of indefinite time. Adverb of indefinite time indicates indefinite time, like usually, seldom, and often. Example, Anna usually drinks tea here. We often help you. And Jadi seldom comes late. We use adverb of time in the exercise. Blank blank blank. 1945 Indonesian freedom. A. Ago. B. In the. C. Last. And D. Finally. What is the answer? Correct. In the. Why? Because in this statement, there is already a time statement in the form of years, namely 1945.
Well, I will continue to explain the type of adverb clause. I will explain one of the type of adverb clauses, namely adverb clause of condition. First, before that, what is meant by adverb clause of condition? Okay, adverb clause of condition is a clause used to denote a condition. It tells us about the circumstances under which something happens, and also, in simple terms, can be used to express the meaning of the terms and conditions. Very often, our parents give us conditions. They may tell us that if we don't study hard, we won't get the reward. In such situations, if one action is not completed, the other will not take place. These are called conditions. In using this type, there are things that must be considered. First, when an adverb clause begins the sentence, use a comma to separate the two clauses. Okay. For example, if he comes, comma, we will have some lunch. The point is that after the clause of the adverb of the condition with the if word, there is a comma. Then the main clause continues again. Second, when the adverb clause finishes the sentence, there is no need for a comma. Okay? For example, he will invite me if he finds out. We can see in this sentence there are no commas anymore. Next, how to position adverb clause of condition. The position can be at the beginning and at the end. My friends, adverb clauses of condition are introduced by the subordinating conjunctions. Of course, when we were in high school, we already knew about this conjunction. Conjunctions for adverb clause of condition are such as if, even if, whether or not, unless, in case that, and only if. And what is the difference between them? First, if. If clauses express the conditions necessary for the result. If clauses are followed by expected results based on the condition. Okay, remember, expected results. For example, if we have a helicopter, we can go around the world. Okay, first let us identify the subordinating conjunction, which in this case is if. And well, there is a condition here. Therefore, the adverb clause of condition is if we have the helicopter. Secondly, even if. Different with the sentence if with even if shows unexpected results based on the conditions in the even if clause. For example, okay, compare the sentence. If he studies hard, he will pass the test. And even if he studies hard, he will not pass the test. Now, this contrary to the if clause, the first sentence, this sentence is a condition that will give rise to the result, that is, he will pass the exam. In the second sentence, an unexpected result will appear, namely that you will not pass the exam. This is what sets apart. Whether or not it expresses the idea that neither condition of other matters, the result will be the same. For example, they will not be able to come whether they have enough money or not. What does it mean? This sentence produces the same condition that they will not be able to come. Okay? The difference is they will not be able to come if they have enough money. And they will not be able to come if they have not enough money. The fourth is unless. Unless expresses the idea if not and is only used in the first condition. Friends, we often see and hear this word. What does it mean? Okay, for example, unless he hurries, we won't arrive on time. Means the same as if he doesn't hurry, we won't arrive on time. In this sentence, use otherwise, which has the same meaning as unless and if not. And the last, only if. It does stress the condition for the result. Only if expresses the idea that there is only one condition that will cause a particular result. For example, we will deliver your bike only if you pass your test. And only if you do well on your test will we give you your bike. In this sentence, there is a condition that will produce particular result. Namely, the subject we deliver a bicycle, and then the condition is if it passes the test. Try friends, pay attention, okay? The difference is in the second sentence, the subject and verbs in the main clause are reversed, okay? Reversed. The verb comes before the subject. Okay friends, well, that's the use of conjunction in adverb clause of conditions. Well friends, thank you very much. I think that's all the explanation about adverb clause of condition from me. The next material will be explained by...
My name is Azzahra, and here I want to give you some explanation about adverb clause of contrast. So this type of adverb clause is used to show the difference between two statements and the connectors that is used, such as although, though, even though, despite, and in spite of. And here I want to give you some example of these connectors. The first is although, though, and even though. These three connectors are followed by a clause. So these three connectors are followed by a subject and a verb. The example is first, although we don't agree, I think she's a brilliant speaker. So here's although followed by we don't agree. We don't agree is a clause, we as a subject, don't agree as a verb. And here, although separate two statements, the first is we don't agree, and the second is I think she's a brilliant speaker. Here, although placed in the beginning of the sentence. And then though. Though I wasn't keen on the film, I thought the music was beautiful. Though followed by a clause too. This clause is I wasn't keen on the film. I as a subject, wasn't keen as a verb. Though to separate two statements too. The first is I wasn't keen on the film, and then the second statement is I thought the music was beautiful. Though is placed in the beginning of this sentence. If these connectors are placed in the beginning of the sentence, when there is a connectors and there is a clause, we put comma before the second clause, before the second statement. So the comma, the function of the comma is to separate between the first and the second statements. And then there is she didn't get the job even though she had all the necessary qualification. Here the connectors is even though placed in the middle of the sentence, even though still followed by a clause. This clause is she had all the necessary qualification, she as a subject and had as a verb. When these connectors are placed in the middle of the sentence, we usually don't need to put comma before these connectors, but we can put a comma too. And then the other connectors are despite and in spite of. These connectors are followed by a noun, pronoun, and gerund. It means that these connectors are not followed by a subject. For example, despite having sensitive teeth, she won't like ice cream. So here I give you the underlying word where is the gerund, having sensitive teeth. And then I want to go for a run despite this rain. This rain is a noun, so we can use despite, or in spite of we can use it too. And then there's in spite of his physical handicap, he has become a successful businessman. His physical handicap is a pronoun. And then the last is he got the job in spite of his present record. His present record is a pronoun, so we can use in spite of or despite. And as we know it too, when this connectors is in the beginning of the sentence, we put comma to separate these two statements. But when there's the connectors in the middle of the sentence, we don't need to put comma before the connectors, but we can put it too. And then yeah, that's all I'm gonna say about adverb clause of contrast. I hope you can understand what I'm going to explain to you. Yeah. That's all. Thank you very much.
Cause and effect. That is the scope of the adverb clause is to show a sentence expressing a causal relationship. So it can be concluded that the adverb clause of cause and effect is a sentence that is complete with a causal relationship, whether it tells of something that has happened or is going to happen. Cause is an event that gives rise to something else. To find out the causes in a reading, you can ask yourself when reading it, why did this happen? The answer is the cause of the incident. Effect is the result obtained from an event. To identify the effect in a reading, you can ask what happened. The answer is the result of the incident. To identify causes easily in a reading, it is generally because, since, as a result of, unless, and for this reason. The position can be at the beginning, middle, or end of a sentence. Meanwhile, to easily recognize the effect in the reading, It is generally in the form of so, therefore, in order to, consequently, and others. This is an example of the use of multiple conjunction in the clause. Let's jump to the first example. Her skin got tan and burned because she was sunbathing. The part of her skin got tan and burned is the result of an event. The part of she was sunbathing is the cause of an event. And because here as a conjunction. Let's go to the second example. Since my child has a trauma with darkness, he cannot sleep in the dark. The part my child has a trauma with darkness is the cause of an event. The part he cannot sleep in the dark is the result of an event. And since here is a conjunction. And then let's go to the last example. The Chernobyl disaster was a result of file system tests. The part of the Chernobyl disaster is the result of an event. The part of file system test is the cause of an event and was a result of here as conjunction. This is an example of the use of multiple conjunction in the effect. Let's jump to the first example. Sarah forgot to breakfast, so she is getting hungry. The part of Sarah forgot to breakfast is the cause of an event. The part of she is getting hungry is the result of an event. And so here as a conjunction. Let's go to the second example. John studied hard for the math exam, therefore he got an A. The part of John studied hard for the math exam is the cause of an event. And the part of he got an A is the result of an event. And therefore here is a conjunction. And then let's go to the last example. Rismala woke up late, consequently she comes late to school. The part of Rismala woke up late is the cause of an event, and the part of she comes late to school is the result of an event, and consequently here as a conjunction. From some of the previous examples, we can see the similarity of the examples of the problem above, that in a sentence there are cause and effects of an event.